what the business is. How medieval people got clean drinking water in cities. Nigga, don't lie to me, dog. You know you be watching this at the nighttime. It just ain't nighttime, yeah, man. And I was like, shit, how they got clean drinking water? Cause what if the world get into an apocalyptic situation and I need some clean drinking water, yeah, man? Yeah, I need to know how to go and do it. I told nigga I'm self-sufficient, boy. I don't play them type of game.
You'd last maybe 24 hours drinking medieval water, but they survived it for over 1,000 years. Ordinary families drank from sources that would send most of us straight to the emergency room today. And yet, they found ways to make it work. Their methods weren't fancy, but they were clever, resourceful, and surprisingly effective in keeping people alive. It all started with access, and for city folks, that meant the neighborhood well. Public wells and marketplaces were the heartbeat of medieval city life. Every morning, crowds gathered around these stone-lined holes in the ground like they were the original water cooler spots. City planners had to get their well placement exactly right. One mistake, and the whole neighborhood could end up drinking liquid death. These wells had to be placed strategically.
Motherfucker look disgusting to me, gang. It look like just anything can get in that bitch. Hey, who be spitting in that well? I know you probably, hey, when the medieval folk probably be spitting in that shit out of spite. Hey, who run the city? The king or whatever? I knew that nigga used to be spitting in that shit, gang. It's just too easy access. Y'all ain't got no cover on it or nothing. I ain't gonna lie. I know it's some little gremlins that done pissed and spit in that bitch. It got to be.
City planners knew that water flows downhill and pools in certain spots. The best wells were dug in courtyards where multiple families could share access, or right in the middle of busy marketplaces where everyone could keep an eye on them. Then you had the fancy option, conduits. These were stone fountains connected to natural springs through underground channels that stretched for miles. Rich neighborhoods got these first, obviously. The engineering was brilliant. They used gravity to push water through clay pipes, lead tubes, and even hollowed out logs. But wait, it gets better. Some cities had rotating access rules for their shared fountains. Water time slots were stricter than medieval church attendance. Miss your turn and you'd be thirsty until next week. Monday mornings for the baker's family, Tuesday afternoons for the blacksmith. Miss your water time slot? Too bad you're waiting until next week. Let's not forget about city monasteries, which were basically the medieval equivalent of gated communities with their monasteries, which were basic.
Who in denial? Somebody get this nigga a motherfucker. What they had back in the day to cut their hair? Get this nigga a blade and get that off his head. The moment that nigga would have lowered his head down and I would have just started laughing. Bro, what the hell is wrong with you, dog? You got an indefinite hat head? Bro, cut that off, gang. You're in denial.
The medieval equivalent of gated communities with their own water parks. These religious communities built self-contained systems that were so advanced they made regular city folk jealous. Monks knew that clean water meant fewer sick people, and fewer sick people meant more work got done. Meanwhile, the wealthy districts had piping systems that would make modern plumbers weep with joy. Lead pipes carried water directly to houses, though nobody knew lead was slowly poisoning them. The rich folks paid premium prices for water delivery that was actually killing them faster than the poor people's well water. Professional well diggers were the rock stars of medieval infrastructure. These guys knew how to find underground water sources and could dig down 30 feet or more using nothing but shovels, buckets, and determination. A good well digger was worth more than a knight. Knights protected your land, but well diggers kept you alive. The biggest challenge was contamination. With thousands of people, horses, pigs, and chickens all living in close quarters, keeping water clean was like trying to stay dry in a rain.
Damn, man. It's down there like living in New York. Shit. This how you New Yorkers live? Like fucking pigs? This is New York, gang. If you ever want to go to New York, this is New York for you. Cramped, small, and disgusting. They just ain't got no horses walking around that bitch. It's big-ass man-eating rats.
Rainstorm. Cities that figured out how to separate their water sources from their waste disposal systems thrived. But city dwellers weren't the only ones dealing with water problems. Clean natural springs were like finding treasure in medieval times, except the treasure was something you drank instead of spending. Villages guarded their springs better than they guarded their gold. You could replace stolen coins, but you couldn't replace a poisoned water source. Villages would build little stone walls around their springs to keep animals from wandering in and doing what animals do. The quality of spring water depended on how deep it came from and what kind of rock it traveled through. Limestone filtered water naturally, making it taste better and safer to drink. Rural people became experts at reading the landscape to find the best water sources. Of course, rainwater collection was the backup plan that smart rural families always had ready. Wooden barrels sat under roof.
Keep it a bean. You think medieval people were some of the smartest people in the world? No, I don't. I think they were some of the most resourceful people in the world. Cause how the fuck you dead ass make nothing out of something? Hey, you know when you go in your pantry and you be like, fuck, man, I ain't got nothing in this bitch. And then your dumb ass slap together a syrup sandwich. Whoever created that broader, I don't give a damn. That's disgusting. That's disgusting, dude. You eating straight sugar and bread. That's nasty, bro. It's not good. I don't know what the fuck you got that from, who you got that from, or what in your right mind made you think that that was something that was actually consumable, but it's not. Grab you a pack of saltine crackers, nigga, and sit your ass down. But what I was saying, yeah, medieval people is some of the most resourceful people in the world. They make nothing out of something. Could you do it? I could do it with the help of the town. I couldn't do it on my own. I ain't gonna lie, I'd be dead. Fuck all that.
Gutters, collecting every drop that fell from the sky. Every raindrop was precious. Rural families celebrated storms like modern people celebrate payday. The first few minutes of rain would wash dirt and bird droppings off the roof, so experienced collectors would let that nasty water flow away first. But then there were rivers and creeks, the risky option that most rural people had to use anyway. The trick was knowing where to get water from the stream. Upstream was always better than downstream, especially if you knew what was happening further up the river.
My boyfriend and I have been arguing.
Girl, I don't care about your boyfriend. What's wrong with her, man? Making this ad about her boyfriend. Get out of my face, dog. It's just like one of them females that be like, my man, my man, my man all day. It just be like, damn, can we hit the mute button on you? You're like a robot. Shut up.
Wanted to drink water that had already been through someone else's village and all their animals. Meanwhile, filtering became an art form out in the countryside. Cloth filters removed the obvious chunks of dirt and dead bugs. Sand and gravel filters were built in wooden boxes that water could flow through slowly. Rural families spent more time filtering their water than cooking their food. Clean water was harder to come by than a decent meal. Transportation was the real challenge. Water is heavy, about 8 pounds per gallon, and rural people often had to carry it long distances. Professional water carriers made a living bringing clean water from distant springs to rural communities. Water carriers were the lifeline between life and death for entire villages. No delivery meant no survival. In winter, things got creative. Frozen barrels could be loaded onto sleds and pulled across snow much easier than carrying liquid water over muddy ground. The ingenious part was building troughs and wooden channels to direct spring water downhill to where people lived. While rural folks had figured out where to find clean water, they still faced a massive logistical nightmare. Buckets on yokes were the medieval equivalent of having a personal trainer and a water delivery service all in one. Carrying water with a yoke meant your shoulders got stronger while your family stayed hydrated. Medieval multitasking at its finest. The art of walking with a yoke took practice. New carriers would spill half their water before making it home, leaving a trail behind them like a leaky garden hose. Children learned this skill early.
I'd be mad as a motherfucker. I'd be hella mad, gang. I get home, I barely got water, and I done walked all these miles, and my shoulder hurting. I'd be heated, gang. I'd be heated, but I'd do it again, cause shit, we gotta drink. Fuck wrong with you?
Leaving a trail behind them like a leaky garden hose. Children learned this skill early because water carrying was everyone's job, not just the adults. Then came hand carts with...
Yeah, that mean women too! I don't know what in your right mind make y'all think y'all can sit down somewhere and be all princess treatment. Nah, bitch, we gotta eat and drink, okay? Get up and go do your job. You heard what he said. Everybody got to pitch in to get that water. Get down to that well. I'm tired of you thoughts, man. Hey, what somebody called it? They called it red pill nonsense or something like that. I don't know.
Barrels, which revolutionized short-distance water transport. A good handcart could carry 6 barrels, which meant one trip instead of 12 separate bucket runs. Handcarts turned water collection from an all-day nightmare into a manageable morning chore. Animal-pulled wagons were the heavy-duty solution for rural areas where distances were long and loads were massive. Oxen were slower than horses, but stronger and more reliable. Horses were faster but more expensive to feed and more likely to go lame on rough roads. Choosing between oxen and horses for water transport was like choosing between reliability and speed. Except the wrong choice meant your family went thirsty.
Which one you choosing? You choosing the ox or the horse? Shit, that's a hard one, gang, because the horse just got more uses than the ox, but the ox is just, man, that's just that nigga, boy. I named the ox Brock, you feel me? I'm grabbing Brock, gang. I need Brock. Fuck, what I'm gonna do with a horse? Shit, I ain't leaving the town. I need Brock. What's wrong with you?
National water carriers built entire businesses around moving clean water from source to customer. These entrepreneurs knew every spring well and clean stream within a day's travel. Being a water carrier required the planning skills of a military general and the customer service abilities of a medieval salesperson. Winter transport created unique opportunities. Sleds could carry more weight than wheeled carts on snowy ground. Some carriers would deliberately let their water freeze during transport, then deliver blocks of ice that customers could thaw at home. Medieval people accidentally blocks of ice.
Yeah, me and his old ass will be getting into it every day. Nigga, did you just bring my water as a brick? I'm thirsty right now. I'm not thirsty in 3 hours. Yeah, me and his old, I would've balled this goddamn shirt up. Bro, you playing with me, dog? Nigga, we thirsty now. Where's my water at, dude? Oh, there's your water right there. It's just a little froze. Yeah, your lip a little busted too, cause I would've did. I would've did.
That customers could thaw at home. Medieval people accidentally discovered food safety principles while just trying to make their lives easier. The wealthy families who paid for daily deliveries from rural springs were essentially buying insurance against waterborne diseases. Delivery schedules became part of the social fabric of medieval communities. Water carrier arrival times were as important as church bells for organizing daily activities. Troughs and wooden channels represented the ultimate in water transport efficiency, letting gravity do all the work. Gravity-fed water systems were medieval engineering at its smartest. Do all the work. Fuel.
See, that right there, that's way more sturdy. When I looked at the first picture, this one, I was like, bro, anybody can knock that shit over. An animal can knock that over and your whole water transport system is fucked. But this is much better. You feel me? More high off the ground, got the bricks. See, now you feel me? Humans are evolving. I love to see it, gang. I love to see it. I still don't think you'll survive, bro. You wanna know why I don't think you'll survive? Cause you ain't me. That's why. You're not me, bro. It sucks. It sucks. But it's reality.
No animals, no exhausted humans, just water flowing downhill exactly where you needed it. Once medieval people solved the puzzle of getting water home, they discovered the job was far from over. Glazed pottery jugs were the premium storage option for families who could afford them.
Man, ain't nobody studying no glazed pottery, man. I need something I can hold water in, dog.
Glazed pottery jugs were the premium storage option for families who could afford them. The glazing created a smooth, non-porous surface that bacteria couldn't easily penetrate. Glazed jugs were the medieval equivalent of bottled water. Expensive, but worth it. When contaminated, water could kill your entire family.
Oh, you ain't hear what I said, my nigga. Yeah, I need the glaze. Wrong with you. I need it. I just thought the glaze was like animal shit or something. You know how yeah, bro. You know, back then they real resourceful. They use everything. But I need the glaze.
Wooden barrels dominated water storage because they were cheaper and easier to repair than pottery. The key was using the right type of wood. Oak was best because it didn't rot quickly and actually improved the taste of stored water. But wooden barrels had their problems. If they dried out, the wood would shrink and create gaps between the slats. Large stone cisterns were the ultimate water storage solution for those who could afford to build them. These underground tanks could hold hundreds of gallons and stay cool even in summer heat. Building a cistern was a massive investment that could save your family during droughts, like building a water bank in your backyard. Filters made of cloth or linen were the first line of defense against visible contamination. Multiple layers of different fabric densities would catch progressively smaller particles. Medieval families became experts at cloth filtering. Their lives literally depended on how well they could strain out the deadly bits. Covered containers were crucial for preventing bugs, dust, and airborne contamination from ruining stored water.
I do that same thing. You feel me? I go outside with a beverage, it don't leave my hand, bro. I be feeling like a bug or a fly just coming and just drinking out my water. Like, how disrespectful, bro. Don't sit your ass down and think you're allowed to drink from my cup. Nah, I don't play them type of games. Gotta keep some type of coverage on any drink. You feel me? Hey, bro, why I heard a female talking about a nigga drinking from a straw is feminine? It's not. And I'm gonna continue to drink from a straw. The hell is wrong with you, gang? Now, if the people don't give me no straw, shit, I ain't opposed to cracking the lid and just, taking a squig. It ain't that. But a straw is just more handy. You feel me? More reliable, more easy accessible, if someone might say.
Preventing bugs, dust, and airborne contamination from ruining stored water. Keeping water covered was like putting a lid on your problems, except in this case, it actually worked. The challenge was balancing protection with practicality. Water left standing too long would inevitably go stale or turn green with algae growth. Medieval
still water.
People learned that water had an expiration date long before anyone invented expiration dates. The trick was using stored water in rotation. Oldest first, newest last. Some families added small amounts of wine or vinegar to their stored water because the alcohol and acid helped prevent bacterial growth. Adding wine to water wasn't about getting tipsy, it was about not getting deadly sick from contaminated storage containers. Stone cisterns often developed their own ecosystems over time. Small fish or frogs might find their way in and actually help keep the water clean by eating mosquito larvae. Having fish in your drinking water sounds gross by modern standards, but it was actually a sign of healthy water in medieval times. Medieval families learned that even perfect storage couldn't solve every water crisis.
Yeah, I was finna say that was nasty, but now it makes sense. Cause fish can't live in dirty water. That's just like us breathing in polluted air. So it do make sense. Okay. I was mostly thinking about fish shit and frogs, Do frogs or toads give you warts? I never figured out the difference, so I don't touch neither. You know what I'm saying?
Modern standards, but it was actually a sign of healthy water in medieval times. Medieval families learned that even perfect storage couldn't solve every water crisis. Boiled water was the go-to solution when people suspected their water might be contaminated, but only if fuel was available and affordable. Boiling water meant burning precious fuel that could have cooked food. Medieval families had to choose between eating and drinking safely. Poor families often had to choose between cooking their food and sterilizing their water. Smart households would boil large quantities of water when fuel was available, then store the treated water in clean containers. It was batch processing before anyone knew what batch processing was. Medieval efficiency born from medieval necessity.
Yeah, I think this ad just ends it all. You know what I'm saying? This is great. Hey, would you choose between boiling water or boiling your meal? I'm boiling some water. I ain't studying no damn food. Fuck that food, bro. I need to drink. You only got 3 days to live without water. You can live a smooth month depending on your weight without some food. Everybody in the medieval times was kind of skinny, so let's break it down to like 2 weeks. You got 2 weeks versus 3 days. Pick your poison. Shit, I'm picking the motherfucking 2 weeks. Damn that food with a passion. I ain't studying that food. But man, y'all know how I get though, dick. Man, fuck with me. Don't fuck without me, bitch. I'm gone.